Hello, everyone. As you know, my name is Evan Clopine, and I am presenting a business proposal here today to add ethanol to Wild Hawk Energy for the sake of the company's future. Wild Hawk is a 16-year-old company, which means it's beaten half of the small businesses by 11 years. It's been a successful company and it still establishes good revenue today. For the first 7 years, it was growing, and then it stayed consistent for the next 7. But the last 2 years have been a different story. Revenue has declined 5 to 8% each of those years. While little to do with this is landing a broker or losing a broker and never hiring a new one, it isn't the only reason. Today, people/companies are buying less petroleum than 10 years ago. This has a lot to do with the movement for less greenhouse gas emissions and cleaner air. So, where does Wild Hawk go from here? Could expand and try to go into different regions such as the Pacific or Atlantic coasts, which would be a high risk due to the lack of relationships we have in those places. Everyone here understands the brokering business. It's all about who you know. So that could be a major failure. Or we could try a new product to broker, and that's where ethanol comes into play. What is ethanol? The biofuel is an alcoholic chemical compound created when simple sugars are fermented and distilled. Yes, technically it is the same substance we down with our buddies on the weekends, and the one I'm going to probably throw back tonight when the day here is done. Ethanol's big purpose is in transportation. It is blended with gasoline for the sake of cleaner burning emissions. E10 is usually what is sold, which means it's 10% ethanol. In other countries, there is a much higher portion of ethanol sold in its gasoline, like for example E85, which is, yes, 85% ethanol. Here in the US, the product is mainly corn-based and about 90% is produced and consumed in the Midwest. This is a bright spot for us due to ethanol companies being in our backyard and having easy access to possible employees. Having opportunities to build relationships in this field would be easier than doing the same in a different region of the country. Due to it being corn-based, it burns naturally cleaner than gasoline, so that is why ethanol is blended with gas to be sold at the pump. Ethanol is a part of the adapting ways of the world, and Wild Hawk needs to jump on board with it. The ethanol industry is on the rise. The cleaner air movement helps demand stay consistent. Import tariffs keep competition from other countries low, and recently the president is pushing for E15 to be sold year-round, which would increase production and consumption. E15 is a gas blend with a higher percentage of ethanol in it than what is currently being sold at the pump. Lastly, 2018 was a record-breaking year in 3 different categories for ethanol. Production rose to 16.1 billion gallons. Consumption increased to 16.2 billion, which was a 300 million gallon rise, and 1.6 billion gallons in exports, which helped the increase in consumption. How does Wild Hawk need to go about this? Build relationships. Again, it's about who we know. We have to find someone who has experience within the field. A broker at an ethanol company would be the obvious move, but even someone who simply knows the right people could fit for this job. Looking at all the companies who produce the most ethanol and have a branch here in Wichita close to it would be a start. Get the word out there and advertise that we have an opening and we will pay the best commission rate in the country. And lastly, we will probably need to hire 2 or more brokers for this to have a good chance. Brokers, as you all know, work best when they can work off one another. This product will be no different, and Wild Hawk needs to commit 100% to it, even if it means hiring more than one person for it. These 3 companies are probably our 3 best chances. All 3 are in the top 5 in ethanol production. Poet and Flint Hills Resources have branches here in Wichita and have people who we conveniently already know. Even if those people aren't looking for a job, they may know someone who is. So simply telling those people about an opportunity like this can go a long way. Valero is already a customer of ours. Telling the traders who work for them gives us a chance to at least get a foot in the door. All it takes is for someone in the field to lose their job and be looking for a new one at the right time. So again, It's about getting the word out there. To close it off, Wild Hawk is trending downward. It needs a shot of life, and it needs to take action for the sake of its future. I believe that action to be ethanol. It's growing, it's consistent, and would bring good revenue and a more broad network to the company. It's a game of networking, so simply put, hiring someone new within the ethanol field could also bring new customers in the gas side of the company because that new broker is just simply good friends with that trader. So in the end, new brokers with this new product could do wonders for the company in many possible ways. Thank you.